there she is. Look at that, a little bit of road rash there. Not too bad, at least it didn't break off. Got some scratches and road rash up here on the plastic, not a big deal. Oh yeah, look, yeah, I tried to buff them out, got those scratches the best I could, and the fender, and I forgot to tell everybody, because it was like a no-brainer. Yep, I broke the cover on the light, not a big deal. I've got some things I'm gonna do anyway. Well, here was the worst part. It bent this peg like it was butter, I mean made of butter. I don't know. I don't really remember exactly how it was shaped. This is the best I could do. Well, not the best, but what I'm happy with. But I think it was kind of shaped like that. It works good. It was actually folded all the way to about right here like that. Made a nice little check shape. Pretty nice. But yeah, it straightened out okay. Wasn't too worried about it. But the rest of it came out all right. I mean, I wasn't going super fast. Got my grip dirty. A little bit of a tear right there. A little bit of gravel still falling out. Isn't that pretty? But the bike was awesome. It rode really nice. It starts nice. That's a few things I'd like to tell you about. Okay, so up under here, you can see I'm having this peg problem. Right up in here, this holds the light in. Well, it dawned on me. Why is that happening? Well, back to my mystery box. I've got these little rubber grommets, and I'm betting that's what they're going to be on my bike. They are going to go up under there. So. And I'm sure everybody's going to laugh at me, all these other guys on the forum, like, you didn't know that? And it fits like really nice up there, up on there. So yeah, it'll go in there. See if I can actually one-hand it. That'd be crazy. That's it. That's the monster. We'll spend a little more time on that later. You don't need to see it right now. Okay. The worst part of this bike was this right here. And I'll be honest with you, one of the main things that I bought this bike for was I was stoked about this rack. I was just like, oh, I'm gonna do this with it, I'm gonna do that with it. I'm thinking about building some type of framework that will clip on, that'll come down this side, that I can actually mount a tube for a breakdown fishing rod. I've got a brand new breakdown fishing rod somewhere. I've got so many toys, it's hard to tell. But yeah, I got a bait casting breakdown fishing rod that I'm gonna put in like a PVC tube or something and angle it up here. But I wanted to bring a rack part down because I'd like to put a little cooler with ice here and then have like a little shelf to hang off a small tackle box, but make it where I could just pop it on and off, because I do plan on using a like a rack or something, so I can do stuff like run to the store. We're out kind of in the rural areas. There is a Dollar General. This would be perfect for little trips like that up to Dollar General and around. So yeah, it would be perfect for that. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, here's the whole problem with this rack. Right up underneath here, you've got this rack comes down and it's got a little bar across here, and then these two come to the side frame of the bike. Well, there's two holes with two bolts. Okay, set those first. Don't even mess with this yet. Well, I couldn't get it to set. It's got a little lip that curves in there. I had to loosen up this fender just with the two bolts here, pull it back so this would drop in. It dropped in. Well, these bolt to the frame, and they were about a good inch and a half away on each side. Yeah, so I thought, well, maybe there's some spacer or something. Nothing. Bolts, yeah, they had two really long bolts that could probably get to it, but I went ahead and just grabbed it and bear hugged it and squeezed it into inward till I could get a couple bolts on it. But it's almost like this rack isn't even made for this bike. I mean, it looks good when it's on, but when you get it and set it on the bike, you're going to be like, what the? You know, did they just grab this off of a different model that had a little wider frame, chassis, or whatever you want to call it, bike frame toward the back? But that was the biggest. It was a huge, like, dude, this is not made for this bike, is the way I felt. But everything else just popped right together. I still got to do my brush guards for some reason. I went through it, and you know, if I'd have had my brush guards, this probably wouldn't have happened, but my brush guard would have been ugly, so I don't know. Not a big deal. These will get changed, something a little more comfortable. But I have no threaded screws that fit this, so I'm going to have to find the thread and go to the hardware store and pick me up a couple. But so yeah, that's why they're not on. I don't know if they were just left off or what, but everything I've tried, it's too coarse of a thread for the side of that. I need more of a more finer thread. Starting up, you know, I'm outside of Dallas. I'm just 20 minutes outside of the city limits, but downtown is a lot further. But so that'll give you an idea of, you know, where I am and as far as above sea level. This bike, what I really enjoyed that they did with this bike was, if you look at parts on it, they have stuff like, you know, line marks. You can actually check and see if your bolt has vibrated, because he's got a mark here and a mark there. You know, they've got these lineups. I guess, you know, I don't know why you'd want that. But even on my adjustment screw here on the carburetor, it was set over here, and the thing was just barely starting. And once it warmed up, I mean, it ran fine, but it needed to come up. So I brought it up just a little, as you see, from here to here, and that made a big difference. But the thing about it is, if you're not 100% comfortable with adjusting your carburetor, you can go back. I mean, as long as you remember your rotation, if you have to do a full rotation or what have you, you know, I could bring it back down to what they had set it at the factory and have the horrible running that I had prior to that. But even these little bolts, I don't know why, but, you know, you can actually see if they vibrate loose. You know, well, I know why, but I really appreciate, you know, the thought that they actually did that, you know. I mean, if you look here, here we go again. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Brakes, man, they work good. I mean, I haven't done anything, and I mean, you tap them and you're stopping. Same thing for the backs. You know, I hit that and there is no problem. Suspension and ride, yeah, you know, it's a new bike. I did hit a few little humps going over a bridge, and you know, the thing was pretty tight, so got a little bit of a pop when I went over it. But as far as the fix on the light, I wasn't worried about these because I've already got LED. The second I got back to the house, I straightened some stuff up and said, well, you know, I was wanting to do the LED lights eventually. Well, now's eventually. But I'm going to go ahead and glue this back on. That way I can get a little ride time while I'm waiting for my parts to come in. But I was looking for stuff to glue it. And in the burrito box down here is a toolkit, which you'd seen earlier, and I went ahead and shoved in another NGK spark plug just in case I foul a plug. As far as the battery's working okay. It doesn't sound super strong. I feel kind of, I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in that battery. Something about it. It just, when I put the caps back on after I filled it, two of the caps felt like they wouldn't quite snug, and if I'd have went any further, then I would have stripped them. Then after I charged it, made me feel real good. I had a little more battery acid or whatever on top of the battery. I think it was more than when I started charging. And I didn't overfill it. I gave room for expansion. But I don't have a lot of faith in that battery. These bikes, their job is to, get them over here or get them wherever. And they're going to cut corners, obviously. It's a China bike. And I think that was one of their spots that they chose to make a cut because, unless they pay people by the torque pound too, because a lot of those bolts didn't have hardly any torque to them. I haven't changed the plug yet. I thought I was going to change it right off the bat. I got 2 plugs. I was like, I'm going to get a spare. I'm going to change one, throw that away. But when the bike just fires right up, what do? Let's go ahead and throw away a perfectly good plug. Nah. I may go through plugs. I may not. If it was anything, it's probably not going to be anything like the 2-strokes, but that's like, you might as well have a dozen of those because that's only 6 months of riding, it feels sometimes. Those bikes, they just burn. But all in all, that's what I've got. You've seen my wreck. You've seen my damage. I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. Get to probably Lowe's and try to find the right threaded bolts. And I got to go to Sam's. So y'all have a good day. Hope you enjoyed it.